Welcome everybody. This is Sied van Riel again, and this time we're doing a production tutorial about the dark matters. This is the entire project. As you can see, we got a lot of effects here at the bottom of the track, which I'm not really gonna explain. I just want to dive straight into the track, so I'm gonna solo the kick and show you the sounds and the processing on the sounds. First sound is a bass. Yes, that's this. Sorry for that. So we got a bass. Let me say that these bass lines are basically these bass lines rendered as audio and processed different. That's basically it. It sounds quite okay like this, but the track's name is The Dark Matters. So it has to be dark. As you can see, little automation, just a filter and volume. Some EQing. Filter. Sample delay to make it a bit wider. A compressor. A lot more presence. And another filter, high pass filter. We got a synth. A simple Spire sound. Now there's a gate on the head just to make it a bit tighter. Sounded quite nerd when I you hear? Now it's a bit tighter. You have a running head. Not much going on there. As you can see, this is the drum bus. Bit of volume shaping, side chaining. We got some EQs and the end compressor. Light compression and a bit of volume gain, of volume compensation. Now this sound is really interesting. This is a drum loop that I completely messed up. I only liked a certain frequency of this sound, so I highlighted, well basically I filtered out everything that was going on and highlighted that frequency. That's the original sound. What I wanted with it was, as you can see here, it's around the 760, 800, between 7 and 800 frequency to pop out. I actually noticed this sound when I was producing early in the morning, let's say like 5 a.m. with my headphones on. So this processing is to highlight that frequency. Let's see what it does. You'll hear a big difference. Here it comes. Works in the mix, you know. Takes a bit of time, but yeah, it works. So let's go into the second part. It's a bit of volume automation here and there, and the tape delay feedback. Notice that the feedback of the Logic tape delay, everybody probably knows, but at 56, it's infinite. And at 55, it will have an ending, but it's going to take a while. And I like the 55 setting. It distorts, but it doesn't go over the top. We got a shaker. Not really noticeable, but it adds to the body of the drums. So we got some effects here. As you can see, it's from VHC3. It's an old drum loop. I kind of got lazy and just took a drum loop and edited it. Let me show you what's on the loop. As you can see on the left side, there's a bit of reverbs and equalizing chorus, flanger, sample delay for the stereo width. But that's it with all the processing on it. Let me bypass it. And it'll sound like this. Really basic, but in the track it works. As I've said before, it's all about atmosphere. And this is an interesting sound, because without the processing, you can actually hear a click at the end of this sample. And normally I would fade it out, but I let it in there. You hear that click? So with all the processing on it, it gives something extra. I don't know what it is. It's just a tiny, tiny thing in the production, but it works. Then we got a little bass part, a bass fill. That's the same bass line as in the rest of the track, just processed differently. Or different. Never mind my English. I'm Dutch. So this is the clean sound. That was that. Then we got a synth fill. This is just a simple Spire preset with a lot of reverb. And one tip is to put a reverb on a send channel. As you can hear here in this part as well, put a reverb on a send channel, put a compressor after the reverb. Sidechain the reverb with the synth itself. So when the synth's playing, you won't hear the reverb, but when it stops playing, the reverb gets its release, and it fills up the spectrum then, instead of both playing at the same time. Play around with it, and obviously, adjust the release and the attack settings accordingly to the BPMs or... Simple trick does the work. And that way you can also stereo enhance the reverb, by the way, or control it really, really well. Well, this part, same bass line as at the beginning. It has more presence, but that's it. It's the exact same part with a bit more presence. As you can see from the audio part, these parts are processed quite heavy, but there's mainly tape machines and compression, reverbs, delays, peak controlling. I don't want it to go over the top. I allow certain peaks, but mainly I like to control them to gain more RMS. You can hear the reverb and the high pass filter in that one. We got snares. Then we got a McMaster synth fill, which is from the Zebra. Has a bit of bit crushing and reverb on it. Let me loop it. And the bit crusher is only to give it more body and more crunch. And the reverb obviously is for the sustain after the kick drum hits. So let me loop it and you can hear the difference. That's a dry signal. Gives it a bit more spunk. And with it again, and now with the reverb. It blends better in a mix as well than just using a dry sound. These are the bass parts and the kick drum. A really low sub bass. I'll show you. This is the wrong EQ. My bad. There we go. You see, this is extreme low. I just put it under the other sub bass just to give it more body. At a really low volume, minus 19.5 dB in the mix. I'll route it to a group with the kick and compressed together just for the squeeze. Now this bass line actually goes in against the kick drum, which is really funny, but it gives that dirty feel to it. You know, it makes no sense, but I kind of liked it. The track is called The Dark Matter, so why not? You can hear there's a bit of gritty in there, dirt, and they kind of clash, but the kick drum is still coming through. Oh, we got an acid bass. There's a bit of tremolo on there. A bit of EQ. This is just to give it a bit left and right feeling. A bit of EQ. A boost in the highs and a cut in the mids. And then we got the nasty bass. These are 3 bass lines rendered together. Pressed really, really heavy and compressed really, really heavy again. You can see the H comp on there. That's parallel compression. Then we got some fills here at the bottom that are really old school vocal sample. That's an old school vocal sample. I have like all these packs of 90s rap, hip hop, slang, you know, like vocal fills, and I use it for this one. A small sample, heavily processed, as you can see on the left. You might never have noticed it in the mix, but you probably will now. So let me bypass all the stuff and show you what it sounds like originally. It's really old, it's low quality, poor quality but it worked. So I threw it in there.
I got what? I got what?
I gave it a fade out and a fade in, but there's a lot of noise in there still.
I got what?
Now with the processing, it sounds a bit different.
I got what? 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 I got what?
It's processed with the mid basses actually, so I just use that bus that I use for mid basses to process the vocal. Yeah, it's just a small thing. A snare fill, very basic. Well, you know, I'm not here to invent the wheel again, or you know, a better invention than sliced bread. This is another one of those one shots that makes no sense but is in the track. Oh, solo mode. It's small things, you know. I'm maybe you don't even notice them. I want to have them in there. So the first synths kick in. The synth lines, a little ARP. That plays together with the this is the Spire, this one, and the other one is the Zebra. Or Zebra. You know, there's reverb on there. It's just a basic plug. Slightly adjusted the sound a bit here and there, and stereo image. Some pads from the Zebra as well. That's mid-side EQ. And then we go towards the breakdown. Oh, we got this Rhodes. And it's called Simple Rhodes because that's the preset in the Massive. Check. Simple Rhodes. A lot of reverb. No delay. It's activated, but I don't know why. That's it. A bit of dirt in there. Here are the side chaining. Now, as you can see, it's 60% wet, so it's not 100% processed by the compressor. Now we got this drum fill as well. There are three loops actually processed together, and sounds like this. Maybe not noticeable. Maybe now it is. And then we go into the breakdown. I'm not going to go into all these effects. I mean, you know, they're small details and it's just volume adjustments. So these are the strings. And as you can hear, there's quite a bit of noise in there still. Rumble. Bass part. I threw on a little bit of overdrive to give the bass a bit more body, and a bit of a boost in the lows with EQ, regular EQ. Just seemed to work. And I do everything on feeling and how it sounds, not by rules or, I don't think there are any rules. So this works for the bass. Small things. Again, everything to me is probably a small thing, but it works, And these strings are, I can actually show you these strings. Let me add, because I saved the preset, which is from the Spire. One pad. Now, as you can see, there's a bit of EQ going on. The Kramer tape machine on it for the dirt. And linear phase EQ. And this is the preset from the Spire. Very, very, very cool sound. Here you see the processing. But it has that dirty feeling to it. It's not just a regular string, Another layer. And these plays together with that one later on, so it takes on a different melody line. That's actually a bass part, a sub bass, and I'll bypass the plugins. Hardly noticeable. Now activating the plugins, so you can see what it does. That's the synth from Native Instruments Massive. And then we have the acid that's going on in the background. Now this is heavily processed when I recorded it. Now the only thing I added after all the processing was this H delay on 132. Kind of simulate that old feeling. There are a couple of more fills that you can hear after the drop. As you can see, normalized, but edited as well. And trust me when I say this acid has been processed heavily. Small minor tweaks, but in the end, the original sound sounds sweet, and now it's nasty and gritty. And that's what I wanted, because the dark matters. It has to be dirty and dark. That HLA just gives it a bit more sustain and stereo width and grit. Gritty. I keep saying that word, but it is how it is. Second layer. Then we have a synth fill. Then we have a new fill that's kicking in. These two are the same there as well, but fill number 3 is a different one. And that was pretty much it, because at this point the track is already ending. Well, after this part, well, ARPs come in, you know, repeating stuff. Well, I do have this kick roll here that goes on throughout the track, which is weird shit. It's really weird how it's processed. I'll show you. This sounds pretty normal. I'll wait till I bypass the plugins. That's some weird stuff, huh? But anyways, this wasn't the final project. This was the first project that I started the Dark Matter in. The Dark Matters. I have to say my own track name correct. Now this is the final project of the Dark Matters. As you can see, it looks a bit different. This is all the same. Here at the bottom you can see some of the stems that are rendered together. Like the drums effects and the kick drum, all that stuff. This mix will sound a bit more clearer. There's some stuff on the master bus, but it's just EQ. As you can see, some mid-side and whatnot. But in this project, the mix will. I made the pre-master. And then this is just to balance the mix down better and get a lower volume pre-master. And that's basically it. The acid are separated, but that's just for a visual reference. Pretty much it, the Dark Matters. As you can see, the kick drum here has some peaks. That's the compressor settings, a longer attack. So the first one punches through the mix and has more velocity. It's a trick I learned from Geert Huynink. He always used to put the first kick at 127. It's not really noticeable, but trust me, on the floor it's noticeable, and that's what matters, basically. Like, it punches through everything else. Just the first one, like, how you doing? Anyways, this was the Dark Matters. Hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment if you have questions, and catch y'all later. Ciao.